What are you doing on Tuesday the 26th of September 2023? Because myself and Francesca Amber are coming to the Barbican Hall in London. Our event is called One Night Stand, and this one night event is all going to be about manifestation, crystal healing, and ridding your limiting beliefs to help you achieve your goals. We've curated an immersive experience that will leave you feeling inspired and empowered. Throughout the evening as well, we'll also have interactive exercises, we'll have empowering discussions, and the opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals on a similar journey towards personal growth and manifestation. There'll even be an opportunity for you to ask questions as well. This event is your chance to break free from the shackles of self-doubt and unleash your inner greatness. It's time to release those limiting beliefs that might be holding you back and step into your true potential. And if you want to come on your own, by all means do that. Single tickets are available and seating is totally unreserved, so you can even meet up with your spiritual friends and sit with them as well. Head to @CannyCrystals on Instagram and click the link in my bio. Tickets are limited, so secure your spot and be part of this transformative experience. Don't miss out on the chance to manifest your dreams and achieve your goals. We can't wait to see you there. Hello everyone, how are you all? Thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode of Canny Crystals, the podcast. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I won't touch your ears with my beautiful singing voice. But yes, it's December and hopefully you've all been good enough to get onto Santa's nice list. I'm usually all spent up, I've got to confess. Like, all presents are usually wrapped and under the tree and everything by this point of the year. But we've only just put the tree up last weekend. My partner's mum was over from Malaga, and they don't really celebrate Christmas as such over there. They have a day in January called King's Day where they get presents and things like that. But they don't really celebrate Christmas. So she had fun putting the tree up with us and decorating the porch and stuff. But like I say, I'm usually all wrapped and everything under the tree. And this year I've just been so busy, I haven't had the time to fart, let alone bloody wrap presents. I need to get a shimmy on, I really do. I'm usually so sad that kind of create myself a spreadsheet with who I need to buy presents for, and it'll calculate at the bottom how much I've spent on each person, and then that takes away from the budget amount, and then when the presents are bought it'll go one colour, and then once they're wrapped it'll turn green so I know it's complete. That's really next level sad, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know where you are in the world listening to this, but here in the northeast England, we had snow last weekend as well. My dog absolutely loves it. So we had him to the park next to our house and he just loves to roll around in the snow. He absolutely loves it. Me, not so much. I love it when you're inside and you've got the heating on, but not when you're out walking in it without gloves and your fingers and your nose just feel like they're about to drop off. Ugh. Saying that, I got myself a glass of gin the other day. I barely drink, by the way. This isn't Alcoholics Anonymous. But you know when you just fancy a drink? So I got myself one and I got into my little hot tub in my back garden and there was a bloody storm going on around me. That's Storm Arwen. So the winds were blowing up at around 90 miles an hour. The garden furniture was practically breakdancing its way around the patio. And I'm just sat there bubbling away like a boiled chicken in 42-degree heated water. Well, the canopy from above me hot tub just blew off into the night. Next door neighbour's fence fell down. Then it started snowing. What a friggin' night it was. I just remember looking up and my partner was stood there at the door shaking his head in disbelief that I was just sat in the tub while this apocalyptic weather went on round us. But anyway, because it's the start of December, I know you've all been tagging me in your beautiful photos of opening your Canny Crystals advent calendars. Thank you so, so much. And I've also been scuffing my fat face with my chocolate advent calendars from my mum. Whoops. While I was going through all my Instagram messages from people tagging and things this week, I saw a message from one of you. And I won't mention any names, but it really I don't know, it got to us anyway. So she seemed a bit upset and concerned at the fact that her manifestations around money never seemed to work. And she was looking for some advice. So I thought I'd send her today's episode around exactly that. Manifesting money into your life. The best ways that I found to do that. It seems to be what I get the majority of questions around in my DMs as well. So just to put all of this into context, the message from her read, Hi Mart, I'm struggling with my manifestations. I'm always so grateful for what I receive and for what I already have. I always take 5 minutes a night in the bath to list the things that I'm grateful for and to give thanks for it. If I receive something unexpected, I always give thanks to it, either in person or to the universe. I've been trying to manifest some money recently, but I'm having absolutely no luck whatsoever. I'm not expecting loads, just enough to help me get through the month because it's becoming a struggle. Can you recommend anything that I can do? Now, like I say, I'm not mentioning any names here, but this is to help you, the one that sent the message, but it's also to help everyone else. So I always find it really sad that people get in this situation, but believe me, only a few short years ago, I was in the exact same position myself. So I'm going to tell you a story and I'll be totally honest and open here. I was on a debt management plan for years. So to open your eyes to my history, when I was 18-year-old, I'd just left college and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I ended up going back into an apprenticeship. And I did this in hairdressing. I don't think I even really wanted to be a hairdresser, but I did it anyway. So I was working in this hairdressers in Bishop Auckland in County Durham, just to really fill in the time between leaving college and deciding what I actually wanted to do. But anyway, I was working 40 hours a week for 40 fucking quid. That's £1 an hour. I'm sure that they've probably now upped that amount, but this was the olden days, 2005 to be precise. And I remember passing my driving test, and then I had to fork out a shitload of money for car insurance, car tax, petrol, just so I could get to and from work rather than waiting around for a bus. Now, my mum bought me my first car, and it was a Vauxhall Corsa, and I know I've spoke about this in like other episodes, but my mum always called it the Dodgem just because it had so many like bumps and scrapes, and it was rusty around the doors and stuff like that. So as you can imagine, I was like having to get it fixed every other month as well, because 1 month the tyres would have gone, the next the brake pads will have gone. It was a banger, don't get us wrong. But anyway, there was 1 week in particular that I went to the petrol station and I topped up with £6 of petrol because it was all that I had in my bank account. I was very self-dependent as a teenager. I would never ask my mum, my dad, or the rest of my family for money. I worked hard for my money, but then I stupidly went out weekend after weekend, as you do when you're 18, because you just want to socialise and have fun, do you know what I mean? So yeah, by the end of 1 month, I remember putting this £6 in my car to last a week's worth of travelling to work and back. And after a couple of days, when that petrol light came back on, I just thought, I'm going to have to do something here. So I nipped into my bank and I asked for a £50 overdraft just to be able to tide me over until next month. And back then, there wasn't much protection for mis-selling credit or anything like that. It was basically the generation of mis-sold PPI. The person working at the bank said that he couldn't give me an overdraft, but what he could do is give me a credit card instead. So he told me it was basically the same thing. He went through the application form, and within a matter of a couple of days, I had a plastic little credit card with an accompanying letter sent through to my mum's letterbox. And it stated that my credit limit was set at £3,200 with 0% interest on purchases up to 6 months. Now, looking back, this was totally irresponsible of Barclays to do, naming and shaming. I was earning £160 a month, and they'd given me a credit limit of 20 times my monthly wage. But as an 18-year-old, that was me going out clothes shopping every day on my lunch break, treating friends to meals out, weekends away, nights out, taxis everywhere, just living the high life. I remember even going to Leeds one day on the train at the start of December just to do some Christmas shopping, and I came back with so many shopping bags that one of the train conductors had to help me off the train at the station. I was living the life of my dreams, or so I thought. But anyway, I got my first credit card bill, and I remember the amount being at just under £2,000. Naturally, I shat myself. The minimum payment was around £100 a month, and bearing in mind I was only getting £160 a month, that now left me with £60 for the entire rest of the month, immediately after being paid. So every month I was having to add essential things like petrol, car insurance, car tax onto my credit card. And because the 6 months interest-free period then passed, I was then hit with all that interest too. I started nearing my limit of £3,200, and what did the bank do? they upped my limit to almost £5,000. My minimum payment was now all of my wage. I was solely living on my credit card, and within a couple of years or so of burying my head in the sand and being too scared to tell anyone, I saw an advert for a company that would basically write to your creditors on your behalf, get them to freeze the debt, and you paid what you could each month from the surplus in your wage, and they split it equally between your creditors until it was paid off. It's called a debt recovery or debt management plan. You've probably heard of it before. But yeah, that was me, aged like 20 at this point, about to go on a debt management plan, and I just thought, what is going on? Like, how have I ended up in this huge spiral and this like dead end almost of like owing all this money? But anyway, what I didn't know at the time was how much that this would affect me in the years to come. So I signed up to this debt management plan, and I was obviously blacklisted from obtaining credit, and it sat there on my credit report for 6 whole years. I was 26 by the time this came off my credit file. I just thought, what a complete waste of 18 to 26, like 8 years of my life. I've never really had money myself, so I totally empathise with trying to make ends meet like the person who messaged us. But learning about the law of attraction and learning that all of us are entitled to unlimited abundance is something that has really helped me to come into money in recent years. I'd say since I got to the age of about 30, I've actually felt comfortable with my money, and I've not felt like it was a burden or something to be scared of. Because naturally, I've grew up like that now. Like, that's in my head that I've got to be careful with my money and not live beyond my means. So it has been a good life lesson, but at the same time, it's like 8 years of my life that I'll never get back. I only got my first mortgage, for example, when I was like 29. Do you know what I mean? I was renting until then. So anyway, one of the first things that I learned was my constant fear of ending up back in debt. And that was actually making me fear money itself. And because of that, I always associated it with negative connotations. For some reason, if I got £50, for example, off me nana and granda, something would end up going wrong with me car and it would cost me £50. Crap example, but you get the gist. It was always in one hand and back out the other with me. I was never able to save any money. Every penny I got was what I owed out. But that was all to do with my mindset, and looking back, the fact I constantly reaffirmed that to myself on a day-to-day basis had a lot to do with it. So when I first started reading The Secret and starting on my own little spiritual journey and learning about the law of attraction, one of the activities was to get old receipts lying around the house, and instead of thinking like, I can't believe how much I've spent on X, Y, and Z, get into the habit of writing thank you in capital letters on the top of the receipt and really sending and giving thanks for the services provided. And I still do this all the time. So on my food shopping receipts, for example, I'll go through the items on that receipt and I'll say a massive thank you and really feel gratitude for having been able to pay for each one, and really think about how they got from where they started to all the way sitting in my cupboards and fridge. This really helps to tie things together. So let's take coffee, for instance. I'll think about the coffee beans growing and the people that helped them grow, like the people that watered them, to then being harvested, to them being washed and cleaned. Then they go through a processing factory to have them ground down, to then them being packaged into the tins or the tubs that we have them in, to then them finding their way across the world in our supermarkets, to them being put on the shelves, to then us picking them off the shelves, paying for them, bringing them home to use. So I use Kenko Millicano because I just love how strong it is, and it's usually around £2 for a big tin of it. And I think to myself, like, wow, that's gone through all of that and it's only cost me £2. And that immediately puts me on that frequency of gratitude and being thankful for everyone involved in making it happen. Like, hundreds of people must have been involved in that process, and I've paid £2. That's a bargain. Like, it just really, really helps me put things into perspective. And like I say, I'll go through my entire receipt of everything I buy and I'll do this little exercise. And it really does lift your spirit and make you thankful for being able to afford everything. Even if you've struggled to pay for it or if you've had to put it on credit, just be thankful and grateful that you've had the means and a way to pay for it. Don't focus on the negative, just give all of your attention to the positivity of those items now being yours. I know it's always easier said than done, but your goal here is to ultimately shift all of your limiting beliefs about money and the lack of it to leave your head. You are worthy of just as much abundance as anyone else on this planet, and you're totally entitled to this wealth as well. I guess for me, one of the main limiting beliefs was what I've spoken about in previous episodes. So thinking that we have to work for money, and that the only way that money will manifest itself in my life is by me either receiving a higher wage or a pay increase at work. We need to not get fixated on the how that this money is going to appear, but because when we do this, we just reaffirm in our heads that what we're asking for is impossible. And again, this is all simply to do with how we've been conditioned over the years. It'll immediately shut down what you're trying to achieve. So don't think about the how. Just ask, believe, and receive. Money, wealth, abundance, whatever you want to call it, can all come to you in different guises. For me, I might find a £20 note in an old coat or an old pair of jeans that I haven't worn in a while. A relative might give me some money in exchange for a service I provided to them. Last year, for instance, me nana gave us some money for power washing all of her back garden and her pats. She was going to pay a company. She asked me, I did it, I got the money. I might get a refund from something long forgotten. Only last year I received a cheque for over £400 for a delayed flight from 2015 that I wasn't expecting at all. I might get a tax rebate at the end of the financial year. I've had a couple of them in the last few years. But it doesn't stop there. I'll even receive money off in real time. So by this, I'll give you an example. Like a few months ago, our Hoover started acting funny, and rather than getting a new one online, I wanted to go to the shops and try out one and see what they were like in real life, how heavy they are, what the battery life was like, how good they were, etc. So anyway, I picked one up that I was happy with. It was a little expensive, but I got that thought straight out of my head, and all I thought was, I can afford this. This is an investment. It's going to last us for years to come. So off I went, and I went down to the tills with my new Shark Hoover. I'm obsessed with it, by the way. And when I got to the front of the line, the woman behind the till scanned it, and she looked a little confused. She explained that it wasn't scanning properly, and that something else was coming up, and that she was going to have to call a colleague to help out. So another staff member came down and also looked confused when she was scanning it. They then went off to check the shelves, and she came back and she told me that the price was different to what was advertised on the shelf, but it was actually what was popping up, but it was actually £20 cheaper. Score. So all of this was happening, and this little old lady was being served on the tills behind me, and she was like taking it all in, you know, when they're just eavesdropping. And I thought she was going to say something, but anyway, seconds before I went to pay, she leaned over with a receipt in her hand, and she said to me, "There's a voucher on the bottom of my receipt here for £15 off any Shark or Dyson product before the end of October. If that'll work on your Hoover you've got there, do you want it? Because I've got no use for it." So I turned to the checkout girl and I said, "Can I do that?" And she tried the code at the bottom of the receipt, and I got another £15 off my purchase. In the space of minutes, I'd reduced my Hoover price by £35. Some people might just say that I was in the right place at the right time, but obviously I honestly believe that it was because I had the positive thoughts and the positive feelings about my purchase. I know I've spoke about the money mantra in previous episodes and listening to audio with subliminal positive messages around wealth and abundance. These are also ways that you can help dissolve your conflicting thoughts and negative beliefs. One of the other ways that I stop myself from thinking about money is I set up automatic payments for everything. So for a while, I didn't give any thoughts, positive or negative, to money whatsoever. So all of my bills came out of my account automatically. All of my debts were paid automatically without me having to give any thoughts to them. The only thought I was ever given to money was when I physically spent on my card on food shopping. And like I mentioned earlier, I got around that feeling by giving thanks and gratitude to everything I had bought with that money. So as part of the secret, and you may have already done this as well, but you can download a blank check template online and you can fill it out with the amount relevant to you. For instance, I did one for £500 just to test it out. And then you can put that check somewhere that you're going to see it regularly and like daily when you're getting on with your life. So for me, I put one by my bedside. So that abundance was the first thing that I thought about on a morning, and it was my last thought at night. And I'll hold that check from time to time and feel as though I had already received it. and I'd feel that excitement and happiness that the money would be bringing us, what I would be able to do with it, what I would spend it on. And the thoughts that you emit must be the ones that state that you always have more than enough money to get by. As I've said in past episodes of this podcast, bring your imagination into play. When I meditate, if I'm trying to manifest money or wealth, I like to have something tangible in my hands that I can feel. So I'll get some coins to hold along with the crystals, and while I'm meditating, I'll be clinking the coins together, imagining that sound and feeling as though wealth is coming to me with every clink. As you play little games like that in your head, you'll start to feel better about money, and the more you feel better about it, it'll begin to really flow into your life. If you're struggling with money like the person who sent me this initial message, 9 times out of 10, it'll be because you're blocking that wealth from coming to you. Every single negative thought, every negative emotion, every feeling is blocking that abundance coming your way. All the money that you require is always available within the universe, and there's always an unlimited amount of abundance available to you at all times. You've just got to do whatever you can to tip that balance of thought from lack of money to having more than enough. Think more thoughts of abundance than lack, and you tip the scales straight away. I guess it all comes back to being grateful for what you currently have. All that you receive and all that you're offered from the universe, just to be grateful and thankful for all of that. Being aware of all of this immediately sets you on that frequency of abundance that you require to be on. When you need money and you're in a state of need and needing, it's a less powerful frequency within you. And that's basically you telling the universe to send more feelings of you needing money. So it'll give you more situations of you actually needing money. Can you see where I'm going with this? You attract whatever you put out. You are a magnet. If you constantly think, I don't have enough money, the universe will send you more situations for you to think that you don't have enough money. You simply need to be and feel happy about money. I know it's easier said than done, I agree, but it is the fastest and the most efficient way at bringing money to you and bringing it fast into your life. You'll start to attract back to you all things that bring you happiness and joy, including money. And like I said earlier, if you have thoughts in your head that the only way that money can come to you is through your job, you need to let that go immediately. If you think that, the universe will send it back to you as your experience. It's not your job to work out how the money will come to you. It's simply your job to ask, believe, and receive. If you ever walk past something in a shop and think, oh, I'd love that, but then you see the price and you put it back on the shelf, you're just affirming to yourself that you can't afford that. So say it to yourself every time you pick something up. You don't have to necessarily buy it. Just say, I can afford this. And you're going to repeat that until you believe that. When you see your dream car drive past, don't think thoughts like negative thoughts of jealousy or I wish I could afford one of those. Just think thoughts of I can afford that and I love that car. Do this as you see someone walk past in clothes that you love or when you go past your dream house. There's a quote by author Lisa Nichols that I love and I'm going to read it to you now. It's, when you focus on lack and scarcity and what you don't have, you fuss about it with your family. You discuss it with your friends. You tell your children that you don't have enough. You'll say, we don't have enough for that, or we can't afford that. If you keep repeating this, you'll never be able to afford it, because you begin to attract more of what you don't have. If you truly want abundance, if you want prosperity, then focus on abundance and focus on prosperity. That was Lisa Nichols. You've got to feel good about money to attract more of it to you. And of course, when people don't have enough money, they instantly feel bad about it. It's just easier to do. But those negative feelings are stopping more money coming your way. You have to put an end to that cycle. The only way you can do that is by starting to feel good about your money and being grateful for the money that you have right now. So you can affirm to yourself daily, I have more than enough money. There is an abundance of money on its way to me. I am a money magnet. I love money and money loves me. I receive unexpected money every single day. Thank you for all of the money that is sent to me. And by doing this, you're tricking your mind and setting yourself onto that new frequency of abundance and wealth. And one final way that I will talk about today that can help you to attract money into your life is giving money to get money. Now, we all know by this point that you get back everything you give out from the universe. You give out positivity, you get positivity returned. You give out negativity, you get negativity returned. We are magnets in the universe. So naturally, when you give out money, you're basically saying to the universe, I have more than enough. So much so that I can even give some away. The universe will then open the floodgates and vast amount of money will come back to you. If when I said that, your first thought was, but Mart, I don't have enough money to give, there's your issue straight away. You're affirming to yourself that you don't have enough money to give. As you start to demonstrate faith in giving to others, the law of attraction in the universe will give you more money to give. Even if it's just £1 here or there, or, I don't know, buying a health lottery ticket, that money goes to charity. You can feel good knowing that your money has basically gone to charity and gone to something. Don't get me wrong, there's a big difference between giving and sacrificing. Obviously, giving will make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, feeling good for what you've done. But sacrificing will make you feel resentment, almost, for letting your money go. So there's an amazing book that I read on this, if you're interested. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You can grab it on Amazon or similar for around £8, but it's a great read about wealth and what rich folk basically teach their kids at a young age to change their mindset about money. Okay, so just to recap, to attract money, focus on wealth. You can't bring money into your life when you focus on the lack of it. Use your imagination to feel how you would feel if that blank check that you wrote out was actually real. Play games of having wealth like writing thank you on your receipt so that you feel good about it. Feeling happy now is the quickest way to attract money. Remember to not resent others with your dream car, your dream house, lovely clothes. Just think to yourself, I can afford that, I love that, I can buy that. Give out money to bring more of it into your life. You're telling the universe that you have plenty. Visualize money coming to you and how this makes you feel. And always think wealth instead of lack. Okay? And on that note, I'll leave that there. I hope that that's answered all of your worries around money, manifest in abundance, and gave you some food for thought. I mean, who doesn't want to manifest money at the end of the day? I do apologize as well. Like, I know my throat is still really, really sore. I've had this like cold now for 5 weeks, I think it is. Not that I'm counting or anything, but yeah, it's not COVID, so don't worry. But yeah, it's really doing my nut in now. I'm gulping all the time. That's probably why you can hear me going like that all the time. So I do apologize. But if you have any questions for the podcast and you want to send us a message, just like the person at the start did, to get in touch, you can reach me at Canny Crystals on TikTok and Instagram, or my personal, which is at Mark Tweedy. All links are in the show notes. So yeah, drop me a message. Let me know what you think about this podcast. I'm always up for hearing your thoughts on how I could improve it. And please, if you haven't already, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast and tell all your friends about it. I'm currently number 14 in the UK for spirituality, and that itself is absolutely amazing. Like, I can't believe it every time I get one of them emails and it's like, you're number 14. I was like, what? But yeah, every review, every 5-star rating, all the new likes, all the listens, they all add up to me moving up the charts. And I can't thank you enough. People are now even finding me Instagram and TikTok via this podcast. Hello to everyone that's listening, which is honestly insane to me, and I absolutely love to see it. So yeah, don't forget to visit my website as well, cannycrystals.co.uk, and I'll see you all in a week's time for another fun-filled episode. Thanks guys, bye! Come and join me in the Manifest with Mart community. For just £10 a month, you'll get exclusive access to my app, and you'll join all the other beautiful souls in the Canny community, where each day you'll be held accountable to making your dreams and desires come to fruition. You'll also be set daily and weekly challenges. There's a chat room built in so you can talk to people in real time, and you can also pop over any questions that you have in the Q&A forum and I'll answer them for you. It's changing people's lives, and we've already had so many people manifesting things in the first 2 weeks alone. Each new moon, I'll also be going live within the group on a face-to-face video to help you get the most out of the lunar cycles, as well as answer any burning questions that you have. And these live meetups are so powerful, and everyone in the group has had nothing but praise for the safe space that we share. There are very limited spaces for this community, however, just to ensure that I can place my focus on you and nurture you into the ultimate manifester. So if you'd like a spot, please be quick and reserve your seat now. Head to cannycrystalsacademy.co.uk and choose the Manifest with Mart option, where you can get instant access, and what's more, you'll also get access to all of the past recordings and chats too. Join now and start living the life of your dreams.